Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi everybody, today we're going to look at a couple of new Photoshop tools which are quite useful. We're going to be thinking about consistent layout today, not necessarily messing around with blend modes and clipping masks and that kind of thing, although we might. Let's see how it goes. We're going to be making a postcard, okay? And for this, of course, we're going to have to start a new document. And whenever I start a new document, the first decision I have to make is how big the document is going to be. Now I know I can change it later when I start the project, but it's nice to have an accurate start. I'm making a postcard, so I'm going to go to presets and see if there's something that I might be able to use for postcards. A postcard is a kind of photo, so let's have a look in photo. What is this? Landscape 4 by 6 inches. The width is 6 and the height. Well, let's have a look at that. That's interesting. Okay. I always get these grid lines. Control H on the keyboard will get rid of those. This is something that I'm going to print, so I'm going to go to View, Print Size, just to see how big this is. That's alright. That's postcard. It's about 6 inches by 4 inches, apparently. Now the second thing I've got to do, of course, I should have done this already, is decide on a theme for my postcard. And actually, I'm going to choose a spring theme. I'm going to steal a photo from the internet. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it into Photoshop. Don't tell anybody. We're just messing. It's okay. So there we go. I don't want all of this image, by the way, so I am going to use a selection tool here just to grab that bit. That's all I want. Make a new layer, and just layer 1. I don't think I'm ever going to need you again, so I'm going to trash you. Now then, what I want to do is break up this image into like a grid of squares. You know what I'm talking about. That kind of effect that you... Let's start. I'll show you what I mean. Layer via copy or cut. I'm going to do layer via cut for this. You'll see why in a minute. Because layer 2 here, I'm just going to drag it down. Okay? And on layer 2, let's do that again. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you've seen this before? Yeah, old hat? Okay, don't panic. We'll just continue on. Just one more, maybe. Layer via cut. Okay, and then let's not bother about that. This final section here, I'm just going to delete it. I don't need it. Right then, let's go the other way now. Let's go horizontally across. Layer via cut, and I'm not entirely sure what that's given me. Oh dear, I didn't want just one of those. I wanted 4 of those. There. Oh, let's just undo that. What can I do? I want to drag all of this away from this. So it really has to be one image, doesn't it? Oh yeah, I know. Let's go to the top layer and do Control E on your keyboard. Control E. Look, it's merging the layers. Control E. Control E. I now have one layer again. Brilliant. Control E helps me. Now I can do what I wanted to do a minute ago. Cut that off and put it over there. Cut that off and put it over there. Bear with me, we're nearly there. Cut that off and put it over there. You know what I'm doing. And then, just to save time, I'm just going to cut that stuff off and delete it. Okay? Now, you can see that my design has a few issues, and the main issue being the sizes of my grid boxes are all different, and even the gaps between the grid boxes are different. So my design is pretty unprofessional, quite amateurish. But no one's paying me for this, so I am an amateur. I shouldn't care, but I do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo everything that I've just done, if it will let me. Come on, Photoshop, and it stops there. Thanks, Photoshop. That's just brilliant. let's just delete all this stuff then. I'll start again. Brilliant, brilliant. Levier. Oh dear. Let's do Levier cut. I don't know. And we'll just drag that other stuff into the trash can. Right then. Now then, let's start to manage how I'm going to slice up this image. What you'll need is your rulers, okay? And my rulers are apparently in inches. Pixels. 0, 200, 400, 600, 800, etc. These are pixels, I believe. You might see yours in inches. By the way, if you can't see your ruler, Control R. Control R is the shortcut for revealing your ruler. And if you go to Edit Preferences, Units and Rulers, if yours are showing up in inches but you want it to be in pixels, just come here. Okay, and you'll be able to change the settings. This is the preferences for units and rulers. Okay? Ooh, very interesting. Okay. Mine are in pixels. Check what happens when you zoom in as well. It really gets more detail on the ruler. And you might want that. In fact, I know I want it. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag one of these out to 100. Whoa, I've got a guide. And I'm going to drag another one out to 400. And then I'm going to drag one out, which is going to be my gap. So I've got 100 to 400, which is 300 pixels. And then I've got a 40 pixel gap. And then I'm going to have another 300 pixels. And then I'm going to have a 40 pixel gap. And then I'm going to have another 300 pixels. Is that 300? No, that's 300, isn't it? And then I'm going to have a gap of 40 pixels. And then I'm going to have my final 300 pixels. I might have to sacrifice that end bit. I'll make that decision later. Now, what I'm going to do now is from the top, I'm going to drag down another guide. We'll start at 100. We'll say, what kind of shape do I want my boxes to be? We could just do it like that, couldn't we? That's 400 pixels. 100, 200, 300, that's 400 pixels. And let's do a little gap. Just a tiny little gap. And then we'll try and do another 400 pixels. Is that 400 pixels? Oh, I might be lucky. Am I lucky? I think that's 400 pixels there. So now we've got these boxes which are 300 pixels wide and 400 pixels deep, and then we've got a gap here which is 40 pixels, and they're all the same. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do, just to help me start, I'm going to move my image into that corner there. So that will be the first block, then there'll be a gap, then there'll be another block, then there'll be a gap, then there'll be another block. You know what I'm talking about. Let's make a start. At the start of the first gap, I'm just going to layer via cut and then drag that across. And then I'm going to do it again. At the start of the gap, there, I'm going to layer via cut and drag it across. And then at the start of the gap, oh dear, I'm going to layer via cut and drag it across. And that's going to be the end of it. I'm not going to do anything with that. So actually, right now, I'm going to delete it. Brilliant. Control D. Now, I'm going to merge all these four layers using Control E. Control E, Control E, Control E. That gives me one layer. Brilliant. Control Z. Now let's do the same thing with the vertical gap. Start at the beginning of the gap, layer via cut, move down, and we're just going to cut all this off here. I don't want it. Try and be as accurate as you can. Control D, and I'm going to merge those two layers using Control E, and now I've got one layer that looks like that. I've got some rubbish here, so let's delete that. Control D. I'd love to see what this looks like without these guides. What can I do? It must be in the View menu. View guides, 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 view guides, show guide. Show guides, show guides. No. That's it. Good. I'm going to move that over there. I'm going to introduce a solid color layer. Make it black. Put it under layer 2. Brilliant. And of course I need to think about the rest of my postcard composition. Where do I want these images to be? Do I want them to be in the center with something here and something here? Do I want it to drop off to the bottom with a title here? In fact, I do want a title, but I want to be very clear about what my title area. So I'm going to, how do we clear the guides? Clear guides. Brilliant. Let's start again. So my title area is going to be there. Let's just minimize that to there. So that area there is all I want to use for my title. Okay? This helps me to plan everything perfectly. And just to give you an idea, let's choose a shape, a rectangle. And I'm just going to fill that area with a rectangle, and with my rectangle I'm going to go to FX, color overlay, we'll make it blue, okay, and I'm just going to change the opacity of that rectangle there, just drop it down a bit. Do you see what happens there? Brilliant. And now I'm going to have to think of something to put into that rectangle. But let's go to View, Show, Guides, and let's just get off the shape layer so we can see what's going on. And it's starting to come together really well. So guides will help you to lay out a web page, a postcard. Okay. So have a go, see what you think. I'm just going to do one more little thing while you're getting ready. Stroke. I was just wondering, yeah, look, the stroke affects all of the little boxes. That's quite interesting. What about bevel? Yeah, it affects all the little boxes. Fascinating. I didn't realize that. Ooh, very interesting. Anyway, you guys should be getting to work. What are you doing watching this video? Get on with it. Make a postcard. Have fun. Goodbye.